Welcome to this video about the JSON Content Importer Pro. It's about getting access to the JSON of an API. So you learn in this video how to get an API running. The setting for this example is a WordPress 5.03 installation with two active plugins. One is the classic editor for easy handling of shortcodes, and the second active one is the JSON Content Importer Pro. The free version of the JSON Content Importer we do not need here. Both JSON Content Importer plugins work completely independent, so we stick here to the Importer Pro version, as this has many features to get access to the JSON of an API. Using an API means that we ask the API and get JSON as answer. To demonstrate that, I've using very often a website like AP Tester. There can we use a URL like this one I've prepared for this video to check what's the answer of an API. So if we test that, the web service API tester is asking from a server from North Virginia, and the answer here is 401 error and JSON, which gives us more details on the error. The API tester here sends this request header, a GET request from this host with this default user agent, and the answer is, as we've seen down there, 401 error. So the magic asking an API is to compose a request header and get a valid answer, a valid JSON answer from the API. Even if we get here a 401 error, we try to use this API in our WordPress JSON Content Importer Pro. To do this, we add a template, and in this template we first define a TWIG template. It's for the sake of simplicity, it's just test1. Set a new unique name, test1.2. Switch the debug mode on and insert the URL down there. Here, the URL. And have CURL get as request method and store this template. The template got the number 4, and with this number 4 we try to set up a shortcode with the JSON Content Importer Pro. At a new page we use this shortcode, JSON Content Importer Pro, and the ID is the 4, the number of the template. So we add a title here and test this after saving the draft by clicking on preview. The preview shows us what the plugin is doing. It's the plugin version 3.4.11, and it's using CURL get to get the message. And the message is, as we've seen, 401 error, and in this case the plugin stops working, and usual users get in those cases error message like message down or service not available or something like that. To change this default behavior, we add HTTPA status code must be 200 is no, then any API answer is accepted, and we do not care about the HTTPA status, which is usually 200 if anything is okay. Then we have a preview, and this preview we see here. This preview says always CURL get, and as we told the plugin that it should not care about the HTTPA code, we get the JSON, and we have the test1 as TWIG template, and in the end we get test1 as result. Now we change the TWIG template to improve the output of the plugin. We have here a JSON with error and error text, and if we use this in the TWIG template like this with double curly brackets, error and error text, we have a new TWIG template which is evaluated together with the JSON, and if we do that, we get here as a result the 401 error and the text of the 401 error: authorization failed and URL parameter A must be W. We want to fix the 401 error, and at the error text it says that the URL parameter A must be W. So let's try this. We try this at the API tester. At the API tester I added a question mark for a GET request, and A is W, and if I test that I get a quite different answer from the API. Now the API says error code is 200 and displays a quite different JSON to us. So if we add this to the template by changing the URL like this, as in the API tester, question mark A is W, and we try this with the reload of our preview page, we get the other error message like none and the current time and date, and in the end we get a result. The TWIG is evaluated, which does not match to this JSON here. But now we have an error message 200, and if we change the TWIG template, we can evaluate and use the JSON we got from the API. Let's see how this works. If you change the TWIG template in the plugin template number 4 and create a if, else, and if statement, you can check on an existing error field in the JSON. If there's an existing error field, it's an error, and the error text, if not, display the time. If you reload with this template the JSON and the plugin, you get in the end the error code 200, so everything is okay, and the time and date. We were successful in contacting this simple API, and the API answers with JSON. This was an easy example. If the API requires more input, we can do this usually via curl. The template here in the template has this option, curl get or curl post, and we can specify here in this curl options several options. At PHP, curl set opt is a list of parameters we can use here. For example, we can switch off the SSL check so that a certificate isn't checked if it's valid. This is sometimes needed for installations of WordPress, and the API do not fit together with their certificates. It's not the best way, but it's one way to switch off SSL in this way. So the magic in getting the JSON is to compose a header with these curl options to get the data from the API. Setting the curl option parameter is one thing. The other is that you can use TWIG in several situations. At the URL, you, for example, can add TWIG code to the URL, and this TWIG code is executed when the URL comes into action. And you also can use the curl options together with TWIG code, for example, to use a random number or to pass the date with the HTTP header. So you're very flexible here. And for example, you can also set the cache time and the timeout for this template, so that if slow APIs which need more than 5-second default time to answer can be used by extending this time to, for example, 60 seconds. If we reload this page with these new settings, we get here the random 5000 and the TWIG code here with the date. And when the TWIG code is executed, the current date is inserted, and the random 5000 is replaced by this number. And so you are very flexible with the putting together the header and the request to the API, and in the end you get answer as we know it before. We can go even further. Let's see this example. I published a page, test 1, and if I load the page, I get the error message. So in the back, this parameter A is not W. If I now add a get parameter called my parameter is W and reload that, I get the time and date of the API. So I show you how this works. To get that running, I first defined a my param parameter at your param for twig, and using this my param is in this way. You have a twig code, the double curly brackets, and put an URL param dot in front of it, and then you have access to this param which is transferred from the browser get to the URL of the API. So the keyword is urparam.here for usage in a twig code. And if you use that, you can pass any value of it. That's it for this video. Let me know if you have any comments, and have fun with the WordPress plugin JSON Content Importer Pro.